Hello everyone, as with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful evening wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP, and this is gonna be part 3. There was also some other announcements around the XRP ledger as well. I'm going to start with those. XRP ledger permission domains has been voted yes and is awaiting 2-week period to activate. The permissionless domains amendment enables compliant gated environments on the XRP ledger, unlocking institutional use cases by restricting access to accounts with specific verifiable credentials. It powers permission DEXs for regulated trading of tokenized securities, stablecoins, real-world assets, and FX swaps among verified participants only. Controlled lending protocols with restricted borrowing, pooling, tokenized asset platforms limiting interaction to KYC AML compliant entities, segregating liquidity pools and treasury operations for approved counterparties, and broader regulated DeFi primitives like compliant payments or deposit flows. This is huge because this was a much needed amendment for institutional adoption. Like I said, right now there's a lot happening on Ethereum because some other things still have to be put in place on the XRP ledger. Then you're going to watch a shift happen with tokenized assets and so on. Even RLUSD is going to start to gain even more momentum on the XRP ledger as well. Tokyo 2026 Platinum Sponsor Announcement. We're excited to announce Doppler Finance as a platinum sponsor of XRP Tokyo 2026. Doppler Finance is a leading project in the XRP-Fi space, delivering institutional-grade yield infrastructure natively built on the XRP ledger. By combining regulated custody, audited reserves, and carefully vetted yield strategies, Doppler achieves both strong security and scalability. Doppler is going to bring more utility for XRP. It's also going to bring a lot of institutional flow into XRP also. T54.ai. We're forming a strategic collaboration with Evernorth. Evernorth plans to integrate T54's trust layer to power their treasury management operations. Moving forward, our teams will also collaborate on building new products for the XRP ledger ecosystem. So the collaboration, Evernorth intends to integrate T54's agentic finance infrastructure and trust layer to power their treasury operations on the XRP ledger, bringing verification, risk assessment, and compliance to AI-powered treasury management. This is huge. We're going to see more of this happening with these XRP treasuries. They're going to use AI to power treasury management. We're going to see more XRP treasuries created throughout the rest of this year. Van Eck joins Coinbase on protecting stablecoin yields. No bill is better than a bad bill. Take a listen.
I'm on Brian Armstrong's side here. It's going to make it too hard for them to pass along that stablecoin yield to their clients. You know, it's reasonable to push back on what looks to be an incumbent written bill that enshrines DTCC dominance and also bank dominance. Yeah, that's a no from me. I will hold out for a better deal.
Hold out for a better deal. You and I are on the same page there.
If Clarity Act doesn't pass and there's no progress on the strategic Bitcoin reserve, then yes, David Sachs should bow out after the midterms.
There's not going to be a strategic Bitcoin reserve. The U.S. is not going to go and buy Bitcoin. All these people just want to cash in and get a bailout from the United States government. CryptoZor says on Bill, banks have to accept it. Take a listen to this.
That yield is already a feature of the Genius Act that passed and was signed into law in August. So if the bill ends up dying, then there will be a form of rewards. And so I understand their point of view. But again, if there's no deal, then they're going to lose on this issue. So I think it's in their interest to work something out. At the same time, I would urge some of the crypto folks to be a little bit, to see the bigger picture. Yes, I understand that yield is philosophically important to them, but so is getting an overall market structure bill. So I think if everybody, everyone has an incentive to be reasonable here, I think, and if they do that, we'll get a bill.
But is it?
Here's the problem with this. The banks don't want to give in on the yield. The crypto space wants the yield. Us as retail investors, we should earn yield. But I want to see where this goes from here. Right now, this is just separating the crypto community as a whole. Because on one side, you have people supporting Brian Armstrong. On the other side, you have people supporting Brad Garlinghouse. And at the same time, you have retail fighting back and forth. No, Brian's right. No, Brad's right. It doesn't matter. We need to see what happens going forward. There has to be some sort of meet in the middle. In other words, the banks say, we're willing to give this if the crypto space is willing to accept it. Until that happens, nothing's going to get put in place. And take a listen to what Trump had to say here.
To unleash innovation in savings and financing, I'm also working to ensure America remains the crypto capital of the world. And to that end, last year, I signed the landmark Genius Act into law. Now Congress is working very hard on crypto market structure legislation, Bitcoin, all of them, which I hope to sign very soon, unlocking new pathways for Americans to reach financial freedom.
Without that, the U.S. is going to continue to lag behind. If we don't get something put in place, every other country is going to continue to advance forward. You see how quick they're getting regulations done right now in other countries. That's because they know the U.S. is already lagging behind. And we can't get nothing done here. No matter what they work on in Washington, it's delay after delay after delay. And DNA Protocol posted this. This is how the future is structured. The World Economic Forum places blockchain at the center of digital identity, payments, governance, tokenized assets, and automation. DNA Protocol operates at the intersection of identity, privacy, and trust, the layer everything depends on. And this is where blockchain is right now. And you see right here, fourth industrial revolution. AI is also going to get tied in with blockchain. AI is the fifth industrial revolution. So you, by buying XRP and these utility-driven cryptocurrencies, you're invested in the fourth and fifth industrial revolution at the same time. But take notice, there's a lot of things on this circle that I am not a fan of. You know, like the net zero transition and the whole great reset idea. Even digital ID, I am absolutely not a fan of that at all, because they will use that so they could shut off your money, keep you from accessing the internet, and so on. Every aspect of your life is going to be tied to that digital ID. And DNA Protocol pushing this, I'm not a fan of that either. I know a lot of people said, well, DNA Protocol is great because it puts you in control of your DNA. But this is getting built on the XRP ledger. And who is Ripple aligned with? The elites. And the elites are the ones telling you that this is coming. This is the future. I always said, if you invest in the right way right now, you could break away from this control system. Rich people are not going to be living under this system. They're going to have a parallel system. Bullish, straight from the head of research at Grayscale. Take a listen.
I mean, what do you see there from the bank's perspective?
Well, a lot of moving pieces. On the narrow issue of institutions, traditional banks, investment banks, broker dealers engaging with crypto. Look, what we see is everybody is building, and nobody is going to wait until President Trump's signature hits the legislation to begin building in the space. There's lots of competitive dynamics at play. If you wait until the legislation is done to begin kind of planning and investing, you're going to be behind your competitors. So all these big institutions have been engaged with crypto in various different ways.
They're building without the president's signature. They're building without that bill being put in place. And like he said, you will be left behind your competition. Right now, it's a race. Whoever gets involved in this space now is going to gain the upper hand. And it's going to take other companies, other institutions, years to catch up to their competition. The time is now. That's why we're going to see full-scale institutional adoption in 2026. This comes from the National Cryptocurrency Association. Crypto jargon can be confusing. Tell us which terms you want explained, and we'll keep it simple. I think this is great. Every single person that's new to crypto should go and read through this glossary. Like, do your own research. FOMO, fear of missing out, and so on. They even talk about wallets. They talk about meme coins. They literally cover every single thing that's being talked about in crypto right now. There's a lot of people in crypto that don't even know what any of this means, yet they're invested in it because their friend told them they could get rich in this space. Get in now and get financial freedom. But you need to understand what you're holding and why regulations are so important as we move forward. The wild, wild west days of crypto are coming to an end, and it's ending very quick. You see crypto maturing now. When they're talking about it daily on the mainstream media news, you know it isn't going anywhere. People still haven't figured that out yet. XRP holders quietly build positions in a pattern that echoes earlier cycles. Everybody's always looking to the past. And what they're talking about here is that people are accumulating in the background, even though the market is going through dips. In other words, people aren't selling. Accumulation is happening instead. So why you should be a patient holder of the asset. I could tell you right now why you should stay patient. Because everything that's building out right now, it all is going to push your XRP to price points people used to dream about just a few years ago. And everybody's still talking about that run from back in 2017, 2018. When you see XRP moving down like this, people think it's over. People that are new to crypto think, oh, it's just going to continue going down until it goes to zero. But when you see this, usually what happens next is we blast off to the moon. And that's going to literally come out of nowhere when it happens. But you got to stay patient long enough to get to that point. And this was a great clip of President Trump. Take a listen.
Home ownership has always been a symbol of health and vigor of American society, but that goal fell out of reach for millions and millions of people in the Biden era because interest rates went up so high. Today, I'm taking action to bring back this bedrock of the American dream. In recent years, Wall Street giants and institutional investment firms, many of you are here, many of you are good friends of mine, many of you are supporters. Sorry to do this, Joe, I'm so sorry. But you've driven up housing prices by purchasing hundreds of thousands of single-family homes, and it's been a great investment for them. Often as much as 10% of houses on the market. You know, the crazy thing is a person can't get depreciation on a house, But when a corporation buys it, they get depreciation. Okay, that's something we're going to have to think about too. I don't know if too many people think about that. You buy a corporation, they buy 500 houses, they buy hundreds of thousands, they buy 500 houses, they can take depreciation. A person sweats and works and buys one house, they can't. But homes are built for people, not for corporations, and America will not become a nation of renters. We're not going to do that. That's why I have signed an executive order banning large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. It's just not fair to the public. They're not able to buy a house.
Now, he covered two things there. Number one, it looks like houses are going to start going down in price. And corporations should have never been able to buy houses anyway. So when you go and put in an offer, you're not going to see offers that are 20% higher than your offer because some corporation wants to hold that house on their balance sheet. But when he said America will not become a nation of renters, that goes against the Great Reset. Remember, you will own nothing and you'll be happy by 2030. So that's why I said in the beginning of that very first video I did earlier today, I don't think globalization is dead. However, I think the Great Reset is dying. In other words, people don't want the Great Reset anymore. Countries are realizing how it's killed their country. I mean, open borders was the worst idea ever. One world, global citizen. A world without borders. How's that been working out in a lot of these countries? I think they're seeing the error of their ways. But the fact that he said that shows you that the U.S. is going in a totally different direction. Let's hope Europe and all these other countries start to follow the U.S. lead when it comes to pushing back against the Great Reset. And no matter how you look at this, XRP is the future, one way or another. No Great Reset doesn't matter. We're still going to have globalization. We're still going to have a level playing field. Countries are already creating their own stablecoins, their own CBDCs. They will always need a bridge currency. And until it happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.